Dear you, I'm writing to you from a version of yourself who remembers how overwhelming it felt when your own emotions started to scare you. Not because they were dramatic or explosive, but because they felt unpredictable, too heavy in some moments and too distant in others. You weren't sure what each day would bring. Sometimes you felt everything all at once. Sometimes you felt nothing at all. And that inconsistency made you question your own inner stability. I remember how you hesitated to look too closely at what you were feeling. You were afraid that if you acknowledged the depth of your sadness, it might swallow you. Afraid that if you admitted your fears, they would become real. Afraid that if you opened the door to your emotions, they would flood in uncontrollably and leave you drowning. So you learned to keep them at arm's length, close enough to function, but never close enough to truly feel. There were moments when your heart tightened for reasons you couldn't explain. Moments when tears pricked behind your eyes without warning, yet you forced them back because you didn't want to fall apart. Moments when you felt anger simmering beneath your skin, even though you didn't want to be the kind of person who felt that intensely. You didn't know how to hold those emotions, so you judged yourself for them. You called yourself dramatic, sensitive, irrational words that never belonged to you. And while you were trying so hard to stay composed, a quiet part of you wished someone would notice the tremble in your voice, the tightness in your shoulders, the way you avoided certain conversations because you didn't trust what might come out if you let yourself speak honestly. But no one noticed because you became good at hiding. You became practiced in swallowing discomfort before it reached the surface. You weren't fragile. You weren't unstable. You weren't too much. You were overwhelmed. You were tired. You were human. Your emotions weren't trying to destroy you. They were trying to reach you. They were trying to communicate something you had spent years pushing aside. But back then, you didn't know how to listen without fear. You didn't know how to sit with your own feelings without assuming they were signs of weakness. I saw you fighting that internal battle alone, caught between wanting to feel and wanting to stay safe from your own heart. And nothing about that struggle made you unworthy. It made you someone who had endured more than you ever admitted, someone who needed compassion more than control. Your past self understands now that being afraid of your own emotions didn't mean something was wrong with you. It meant you were carrying feelings that were never given space to unfold. You weren't taught how to navigate emotional intensity. You were taught to suppress it, to be composed, to stay strong, to avoid making others uncomfortable. And so your inner world became something you tiptoed around, instead of something you explored with gentleness. You feared your emotions because you didn't trust your ability to hold them. You didn't trust that you could feel deeply without breaking. You didn't trust that you could experience sadness without getting stuck. You didn't trust that anger could exist inside you without turning destructive. But those fears came from misunderstanding, not truth. Your emotions weren't too big. Your emotional container was too neglected. You had spent so much time taking care of others that you forgot how to take care of yourself. You made room for everyone else's feelings, but left little space for your own. And when your emotions finally pushed their way to the surface, they felt foreign, intense, unfamiliar, even frightening. Not because they were dangerous, but because they were overdue. Your past self wants you to understand something crucial. Your emotions are not your enemy. They are your compass. They are your signal. They are your signal. They are your way of knowing when something matters, when something hurts, when something needs attention. Fear doesn't mean the emotion is wrong. Fear means the emotion deserves tenderness. You weren't supposed to silence your feelings. You were supposed to learn how to hold them with softness, but no one taught you how. No one taught you that anger can be a boundary forming. No one taught you that sadness can be a healing process beginning. No one taught you that fear can be a signal, not a verdict. No one taught you that emotional waves pass naturally when they're acknowledged, so you learn to fear them rather than trust them. But here's the truth. Your emotions are not proof that you are unstable. They are proof that you are alive, sensitive, aware, growing. And the fact that they scared you simply means they were asking for attention you never learned to give. Now I'm speaking to the you who is here today, the you who still sometimes feels nervous when an emotion rises unexpectedly, the you who still worries about losing control, the you who still doubts whether you're allowed to feel as deeply as you do. I want you to breathe gently. In, out. Let this truth soften the fear inside your chest. Your emotions are safe inside you. You are safe inside you. You do not need to run from your feelings. You do not need to apologize for them. You do not need to shrink them to make yourself easier to manage. You can learn to feel without falling apart. You can learn to sit with discomfort without being consumed by it. You can learn to welcome emotions as visitors, not threats. Your heart is stronger now. Your mind is clearer. Your inner world is no longer a place you have to fear. Imagine this. Every emotion rises like a wave. Some waves are gentle, some are strong, but every single one eventually falls back into stillness. Your job is not to stop the waves, it's to remember that you can float. You don't need to analyze every feeling. You don't need to judge every reaction. You only need to offer yourself the compassion you've always offered others. One day, you will realize that your emotions are not wild storms. They are whether natural, temporary, meaningful. They pass, they change, they teach, they heal. And you are the sky they move through. Steady, expansive, unbreakable. Your past self is proud of you. Not because you stopped feeling afraid, but because you kept showing up even when you were. Proud of the courage it took to stay present. Proud of the way you softened toward yourself. Proud of the way you allowed truth to replace fear little by little. Take another gentle breath now. Let it settle in your chest. Let it remind you that nothing inside you is too much. Nothing inside you is dangerous. Nothing inside you is wrong. You are safe to feel. You are allowed to feel. You were made to feel. And you will learn, slowly and beautifully, that your emotions are not something to fear. They are something to understand. Sincerely,